I had always been a city person, used to the constant hum of traffic, the sounds of neighbors arguing, and the distant rumble of trains. But after a year of endless stress, I decided to make a change. I wanted peace, solitude, and a chance to reflect. So when the opportunity arose to rent a small cottage tucked away in the mountains, I jumped at the chance. The house was secluded, perched on the side of a hill, surrounded by dense trees, with only a narrow dirt road connecting it to the world outside. It was perfect. The first few days passed in a blissful haze. The air was crisp, the sky clear, and there were no interruptions. The mornings were quiet and peaceful, filled with the chirping of birds and the rustling of leaves in the wind. I spent my days hiking the nearby trails, reading, and just breathing in the mountain air. The nights were serene, the only sound being the occasional rustle of a critter outside the window or the soft wind whistling through the trees. I had found what I was looking for, or so I thought. By the fourth day, however, things began to take a strange turn. I woke up early, deciding to explore a trail that wound its way up the ridge behind the cottage. The sky was a pale grey, and the air had a bite to it. It was the kind of crisp morning where your breath clouded in the air, and your boots left deep prints in the soft snow that had begun to blanket the ground. The hike was pleasant at first, but as I climbed higher, a strange feeling settled over me. I couldn't shake the sense that I wasn't alone. It was subtle at first, just a feeling at the back of my mind. The snow crunched beneath my boots, and the wind whispered through the trees, but something was off. There was no sign of other hikers, no other footprints besides my own. I pressed on, trying to ignore the creeping unease. The trail became steeper as I climbed, and I found myself alone in a part of the woods I hadn't explored yet. The towering trees loomed overhead, blocking out most of the light, casting long shadows across the ground. It was quiet, too quiet. The birds had stopped singing, and even the wind seemed to hold its breath. That's when I noticed the footprints. They were fresh, their edges still sharp and clear despite the light snowfall. They led off the trail and into the woods, winding between the trees as though someone had been walking there recently. At first, I thought it might be another hiker or perhaps someone out for a walk, but the further I followed the tracks, the stranger the situation felt. There was no sign of anyone else on the trail, and the footprints led deeper into the forest. I hesitated. Was someone else here? Did they get lost? Curiosity pushed me forward, but as I walked, my nerves began to fray. The snow was thicker here, the forest denser, and every creaking branch overhead made my heart race. I continued following the footprints, but now I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. I stopped, scanning the trees around me, my breath coming faster now. The wind had picked up, sending the trees swaying in eerie motions. That's when I heard it, an unmistakable sound of a twig snapping, sharp and loud, like a footstep. I froze, my heart hammering in my chest. I glanced over my shoulder, but the woods were empty, silent. Feeling of being watched didn't go away. It settled into my chest like a weight, heavy and suffocating. I quickened my pace, following the tracks as they veered off to the side of the ridge. The trees here were thicker, their branches weaving together like a dark canopy above. The sky had grown darker too, as if the clouds were closing in, blocking out the sun. And then I saw it. At the edge of my vision, just past the line of trees, I caught a glimpse of something, someone, standing still. It was far enough away that I couldn't make out the details, but there was a figure standing in the shadows, just at the tree line. The figure didn't move. It was just there, staring. I stood frozen for a long moment, unable to process what I was seeing. My breath caught in my throat, and my mind raced. Was it another hiker? Or someone lost, like I had first assumed? But no. There was something wrong about it. The figure didn't look like a person just resting or standing. It looked like it was waiting. I called out, my voice cracking in the cold air. "Hello? Is someone out there?" There was no response, no movement, nothing. I took a tentative step forward, but before I could take another, the figure disappeared into the trees. It was as though the forest swallowed them whole. 1 second there, standing at the edge of the woods, and the next gone. My heart raced and panic surged through me. What was I supposed to do? Who was that? Why didn't they answer? I didn't wait around to find out. I turned and ran down the ridge, my boots pounding the snow-covered ground. I was panicking now, my mind racing with questions I couldn't answer. The trees seemed to close in around me, and every rustle in the wind made my heart leap into my throat. I didn't dare look back. When I reached the bottom of the trail, breathless and shaken, I glanced over my shoulder one last time. The ridge was empty, but the feeling of being watched never left me. It lingered like a shadow at the edge of my vision, and even though I didn't see the figure again, I couldn't shake the impression that it was still out there, watching me. Later that evening, I sat by the fire, trying to calm myself. But as I stared out the window into the darkness of the woods, I couldn't help but feel a chill settle deep in my bones. The sky had cleared up a bit, and the moonlight illuminated the snow-covered landscape, but there was something off about the stillness of the night. I had been so confident when I first moved here, confident that this place would give me peace. But now, I wasn't so sure. The next morning, I woke up to fresh snow, covering the ground like a soft blanket. I stepped outside, trying to shake off the feeling of unease that had settled over me. But when I walked to the ridge to check where I had seen the figure, there were no tracks, none at all. The snow was untouched. There was no sign of anyone, no footprints, no signs that anyone had been there. It was as if the person, or whatever it was, had never existed. The rest of my time at the cottage passed in a blur. I didn't leave again after that day. Even now I can't explain what happened. Maybe it was just my mind playing tricks on me, the isolation getting to me, but part of me knows that I wasn't imagining it. There was something out there, watching me from the woods, and I'll never forget the feeling of those eyes on my back,